I'm just rambling today. I'm just telling you what's on my mind. I haven't even written anything down. I haven't really thought about anything. I'm just speaking today. The other day, about 30 small little yellow rubber ducks appeared on my neighbor's car. And when I mentioned this to my friend Lauren, she said that she had seen the ducks on somebody else's car earlier in the week. So that means that there are these traveling ducks going around my neighborhood. She suggested that I send it into the police blotter in the newspaper, which I made a video about in Vita, and I said that would be really funny, but I'm not going to call the police because it's not like an actual issue unless it happens to my car. So we're just going to wait and see if that happens. The other day I saw a half-eaten sandwich in the road, and it reminds me of when you see like one shoe in the road and you're like, how did somebody lose one shoe? It's okay if you don't want to eat your whole sandwich, but why would you throw it out the window? It was in the middle of the road. Like, that's the only possible explanation. It was a sub sandwich, and it was also like 9 in the morning. So what are you doing with a sub sandwich at 9 in the morning, throwing it out the window? I don't understand people. This past week was the YouTube booktubeathon, and I'm obviously not a booktuber, but I decided to take this opportunity to read a lot more than I usually would, since that's kind of the goal. There were a bunch of little challenges and stuff, but I didn't participate really in any of those. I just kind of read along with a lot of people who were doing a lot of reading this past week. So I've been reading Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs by Chuck Klosterman, which is really interesting. I read Franny and Zoe, which I really didn't get. If you've read that book, tell me why I don't get it, because I feel like I was supposed to get a lot out of it, and I really didn't. I had a really hard time caring about the characters, and when there's hardly any plot in a book, you really have to care about the characters. I felt like Salinger didn't really pre-establish caring. It almost felt like a sequel. Like, it felt like I should already care about them, and this is a continuation of a story I already care about. I also read The Lover's Dictionary by David Levithan, and I totally recommend this to any person. It's probably technically a young adult novel, but I feel like older adults would get something out of it. It's almost set up like a dictionary where it has a word and a part of speech, but then it has like a little story about what that word means in the context of this couple's relationship. For instance, it might say the word compromise and then say noun and verb, and then it would kind of tell the story of a time when they compromised and what that compromise means to them. And I thought it was really interesting and a really cool format and really well done and beautiful. And unlike Franny and Zoe, I really cared about the characters even though I didn't know a whole lot about them. It was written in a second person point of view, so it was really interesting that it used the word you, because I don't read a lot of books in second person. There aren't a lot of books in second person. Lastly, I'm also in progress of reading The Kite Runner, which I was told in sophomore year that we were going to be able to read in May and June, but then my teacher said, hey, no, we don't have time to read both The Kite Runner and Wuthering Heights. Which would you guys rather read? And everyone said The Kite Runner, and she said, too bad, we're gonna read Wuthering Heights. Turns out I wasn't just disappointed that we didn't get to read The Kite Runner, but I also hated Wuthering Heights, so that kind of added insult to injury. I know that the point of a lot of books, including Wuthering Heights, is that you're not supposed to like the characters, and that's the point, but when all the characters are completely intolerable, I just can't get into a book. Planes. Why you gotta be flying, man? If you live in the United States, you may or may not know that Whose Line is back on the air, and I love Whose Line. It is so great. The new format's really weird because they always have a guest star, like a celebrity guest star who's on, like, they have the Vampire Diaries and The Walking Dead and the guy from Glee from the wheelchair, and they try to incorporate the guest stars into the actual skits, but these guest stars aren't improv stars, and there's a reason that they're not on the show. There's always the same 3 cast members and then a 4th kind of guest star who's more of a comedian known for being funny. But since they've added the celebrity aspect, they no longer really use the guest comedians, which I really have a problem with, because it means I think that the actual production value and the value of the skits themselves has really gone down. They're less funny because they're bringing in somebody who's not trained in improv and comedy to fill the role of somebody who could be on the stage, who knows more about improv and comedy. The other day they had Keegan Michael Key on there, and if you don't know him, he's from Mad TV, and he's fabulous, and they used him in almost all the skits, and I was just so happy because he's hilarious, and I love him. I am gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching. Bye.